Welcome to my Forever in Motion Facebook class. This will be a pre-recorded session, some scheduling conflicts, so I'm doing a pre-recorded session for today. Aiming for about a half-hour class. So what you're going to need for today's class is what I usually get you to grab: tubing or TheraBand, a good sturdy chair, and a good pair of supportive running shoes, and your bottle of water. If you've got all those things, we are good to go. So starting off with just a march, while I give you the posture cues and other safety cues. So remembering, as always, to work at your own pace. If at any point you're feeling pain, discomfort, or like you're overexerting yourself, make sure that you stop, slow down, or adapt whatever you're doing. We always want it to be a safe class. Posture, those shoulders should be back and down. Your core is engaged, so you're bracing your stomach nice and tight as though someone's going to give you a good playful punch in the stomach. And either standing up nice and tall or sitting up nice and tall. Most of the exercises can be done either standing or seated. If the exercise is much different than what we're doing to the standing version, I will demonstrate the seated version as well. All right, so we've done our march. Let's take that to a wide march. Another thing I would like to mention is, as far as the water bottle goes, feel free to grab a drink of water anytime. It is important to stay hydrated. Regulates body temperature, makes for a safer workout, and it also helps to prevent cramps. And I don't think I even mentioned my name yet. Kereen Lazurko, recreation therapist with the community older adult team. So wide, wide, narrow, narrow, wide, wide, narrow, narrow. If I am going too fast for you, feel free to slow it down. Later on, once we're warmed up, if you wanted to go a little faster than what I'm going, totally fine too. This is your workout, do what works for you. But having said that, this is going to be a shorter class today, so not a heck of a lot for cardio. I'm going to focus mainly today on, okay, hang on a second here. Let's wide, wide, narrow, narrow, tap down, and switch which side we're starting on. So as I was saying, today I am going to focus mainly on exercises that people seem to have a little bit of difficulty or a little bit of confusion with. So when we go out and do site visits, these are often some of the exercises that we see people struggling a little bit with. So I thought I would do kind of like a mini class today, kind of clarifying some of those things that I'm seeing when we go out and about doing site visits. Okay, keep the legs wide again. And you know what, why don't we throw in, because it is shorter for a cardio, let's just take it down low a little bit. So a low, wide march. And 4, 3, 2, last one, bring it back up, and let's bring those legs in. And let's take that to a heel dig. So just heel down, toe pointing up. I see I've got my phone kind of set at a funny angle today. Arms, let's do a bicep curl, both arms. Okay, let's take it to a single arm, same leg. Okay, let's take it to opposite arm, opposite leg. And 4, 3, 2, last one, and just back to a regular march. All right, let's take this to a hopscotch. I haven't done a hopscotch in one of these videos for a while, or I don't think I have anyway. Okay, so hopscotch front. So reaching up, reaching towards or touching opposite ankle, in the front. Remembering to work at your own pace, whatever works for you. If it's just a reaching towards, that's totally fine too. Four, three, two, last one, and back to a march. And let's switch that up, take it to hopscotch back, so touching, reaching towards and touching, I should say touching or reaching towards opposite heel in the back. Making sure that you're still standing up nice and tall for this, or sitting up nice and tall. You can still do these in the chair. Not quite as easy, but you can do it. 4, 3, 2, last one, and let's alternate front, front, back, back, front, front, back, back. Keep going with that. We'll do a couple more. And last one for the front and back. And just back to regular march. Let's see what we're at for time. Okay, so I'm already going to, you should be warmed up. Like I said, I'm not gonna do tons for cardio today, so let's just take it to an easy march. I'm gonna grab a drink of water already. Feel free to do the same. Just make sure you keep those legs moving. All right, so just an easy march, and let's see, how about we just tap to the front, but we'll tap across. So we're crossing that midline, which is also great for brain health. So just returning that breathing and heart rate back to normal again in case it was elevated a bit. Okay, one more each side, and then let's tap in the back, so tapping across behind. You can swing the arms if you like, nice low and slow. Okay, how about we confuse ourselves a little bit and do some arm circles while we're doing that? Or maybe just confuse me. Bigger arm circles if it works for you. And let's slow those down. Make smaller circles. And bring the arms down. Reverse them a bit here. Reverse direction. We're making circles backwards this time. Bigger circles, whatever works for your shoulders. Listen to your body, and let's go smaller. And arms back down to the sides. Okay, just shake that out, get some big shoulder rolls backwards. Okay, how was that? Let's start with our exercise. So first, or a strengthening exercise, I should say. What I want to start with is a back squeeze. So basically, we are feet shoulder width apart, slight bend to your knees, core is engaged, chin tucked, the ABCs of posture, chin, chest, your butt. Okay, so for the back squeeze, you want your hands to be about armpit height, and you take a breath in. Your index fingers are either touching or almost touching, fairly close together. Take a breath in and exhale as you pull apart, squeezing those shoulder blades together, and then inhale as you release. So I mentioned that I'm going to be doing some of the exercises that we sometimes see people struggling with a little bit. So the one thing that we sometimes see with this is that people have their arms up too high. You want to bring them down to about chest height, or armpit height might be a good way of thinking about it. If you have your arms up too high, then the shoulders can go up too high, and that can cause tension in the neck and shoulders. It's just much easier this way and more effective. If you are wanting to switch it up and challenge your balance a little bit, you can either narrow your base of support or change your stance to a front to back. And I'm going to do, how about 2 more here? I'm not going to go too crazy, too wild with too many repetitions today. All right, so shaking that out. Next up, chest squeeze. All right, so this one, fairly straightforward. Most people are very familiar with this, but the one thing that we do see when we go out is that people are doing too many of them. So if you normally do, say, 10, 12 repetitions of the chest squeeze, so crossing wrist left over right, and then grab the band so that your pinkies are either fairly close or touching. So what I was going to say is, if you normally do 10 to 12 repetitions for everything else, when you're doing this, you want to do 5 or 6 and then switch and do 5 or 6 the other way. Okay, so let's start with left wrist over right. Take a breath in and exhale, pulling the arms apart, or the hands apart, I should say. Feel free to double up your band if you are finding that it's too easy for any of these exercises. And 1 more here. And let's switch. Put your left wrist below the right wrist this time around. And again, feel free to switch up your stance if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more that way too with your balance. Okay, so take a breath in. Exhale as you pull apart. Inhale as you release. Nice, slow, and controlled. You want to go the same speed both directions. Shoulders relaxed. Try and keep your shoulders relaxed for all the exercises. That's another thing that we see sometimes when we're going out. Okay, so that was like 5, 6, both ways. Okay. So next up is the paddler's row. This one, you're going to need your chair. I'll try and keep myself within the picture frame. Okay, so sitting up nice and tall. You're sitting on the edge of the chair. Remember, if you're doing any exercises seated, you want to be sitting towards the front of your chair, not leaning against the back. So that would be another point that I would throw out that we see when we go out doing the visits. Okay, so sitting up nice and tall. Slight bend to your knees. You're not locking your knees. You never want to lock any joints. Same thing with your elbows. Your arms are straight, but the elbows are not locked. Take a breath in and exhale as you pull back. Keep those arms straight. You're not pulling back. That would be the row. This is paddler's row. Okay, so exhaling as you pull back. Nice, slow, and controlled both directions. Sitting up nice and tall, core is engaged. You point those toes a little bit so the band doesn't roll up and smack you in the face. And how about we do 2 more? And last one. There we go. I'm kind of whipping through these. Partly, like I said, scheduling conflicts, but also because I want to fit in lots while I'm doing this shorter class. And we have had requests of people wanting the shorter class too, the half-hour class for those days when you just do not have enough time for a full-hour class. Okay, so the M fly is another one. You want to start out with that M. I'm going to lower my arms here a bit. So one thing I will point out too, sometimes depending on the positioning of our phone when we're recording these classes, sometimes it might look like our arms are higher, but they are about armpit height. So keep that in mind. Do what we say, not necessarily what you see it looking like we're doing. Okay, take a breath in, exhale as you pull apart, And then when you're bringing it back in, when you feel that tension starting to disappear, you don't want to go for there. You want to, as soon as that tension starts, you start losing that tension, you want to go back out. If you want to work your arms through a greater range of motion, make that M smaller. Start out with a smaller M and then take it out. And feel free to adjust. I'm going to sneak my hands out a little bit. And this is another one where you can adjust. You can go legs like a regular walking stride stance. You can go in line like you're walking a tightrope, or you could go heel to toe, and then make sure that you switch which leg is the lead leg. Also good to balance your weight between 2 feet, or if you want to throw in some extra challenge, shift your weight back and forth from one leg to the other, from one foot to the other, whichever way you want to say that, while you're doing this. That's even more challenging. That's kind of cool. I like that. Okay, that's enough for that one. Give those shoulders a shake. How are we doing for time? Let's see what we have. Okay, another one I want to sneak in here is the upright row. So I might go a little bit over that half hour, but we'll see what we can do. Okay, so when I'm doing the upright row with the band, what I like to do is standing on the band, cross it, and then I am grabbing on to the whole band and take a breath in. You're standing up nice and tall or sitting up nice and tall. Take a breath in and exhale, raising those elbows up and out. You'll notice that my wrists are straight. My hands are only coming up to about armpit height. And then you lower it again. You don't want the elbows below your wrists, because then you see the doggy paws, which are really bad for your wrists. So keep that in mind when you are doing the upright row. Your posture, you are still standing up nice and tall or sitting up nice and tall, core engaged. And for older adults, we don't bring those elbows any higher than the shoulders. And to keep the elbows above the wrists, we don't bring the hands any higher than the armpits. Okay, so those are the points, the key points to keep in mind for this one. And just take note of your wrists during all of your exercises. It's really, really important to have those wrists in good alignment with your forearm and your hand. Okay, how about 2 more? And last one. There we go. All right, so keeping in mind the wrist thing, that's kind of a theme for today's class, because we do see that a lot with the wrists in bad positioning. We don't want to do that. Okay, so we're going to do the reverse bicep curl. So your palms are facing back to the wall behind you. Take a breath in and exhale as you are lifting up. Again, making sure that you are keeping those wrists in good alignment. You don't want to do we'll turn sideways. You don't want to do the doggy paw. So in good alignment. And as always, core engaged, the ABCs of posture. Chin tucked, chest up, like you're showing off a new bow tie or a new necklace, and that thumb tucked. And your abs engaged. Let's do 2 more. We're keeping our elbows tucked in tight with this one as well. That's another one. People sometimes want to have their elbows out. You want to keep your elbows in as though you have a newspaper under your arm. And 1 more. There we go. All right, let's go for that tricep exercise. So people are they're yeah, you know what? I will show you this version of it because I do see a lot of people getting confused about this. So what you want to do is you want to start with the band that you are holding. Let's start with our left hand. The hand that you're holding the band in goes across to the other side of your neck. Throw the end of the band over your shoulder. The band that is in the front, coming down from the bottom of your hand, that's the one that you want to grab onto. And let's take the elbow out to the side and extend straight out. Again, feel free to challenge your balance by switching around your feet in whatever formation you want. And if that is too easy, also feel free to look side to side to challenge your balance, or close one eye or both eyes, making sure that that chair is right close if you need it. And let's do 2 more. Like I said, I'm trying to sneak in as much as I can today. And 1 more. Other side. So grabbing it in your right hand this time, throw it over your left shoulder. That hand does not move. We're throwing the end of the band over the back. And elbow out, and take a breath in. Exhale as you are extending. Inhale as you release. Again, feel free to switch up. I'm going to do heel toe. Also a couple pointers about your band. Feel free, like I said, to double it up if you need. You want to make sure that you've got enough tension, enough resistance on the band that it is challenging you. If you can easily do 10 to 12 repetitions, no problem, then you might want to bump up to the next level or double up your band and just don't do as many repetitions to start with. Let's do 2 more. And last one. Okay, seated crunch. Grab your chair. For this one, again, you're sitting towards the front of your chair, sitting up nice and tall. Your feet are planted, about shoulder width apart, and eyes on the horizon. As you go back, so option 1, hands are on your thighs. Option 2, across your chest. Option 3, they're behind your ears, but they are just there to increase the challenge. It's not, you're not pulling on your head. So use whichever option works for you. I'm going to move forward a little bit more. And make sure you have your core engaged before you start. Make sure you are not holding your breath. And for this one, what we see the most that we really, really want to change is people are keeping their head. We always say keep your head in alignment, head, neck, spine, but this is one where you don't want to do that. You don't want to keep your head, neck, spine in alignment because that's really hard on your neck. So for this one, when you're going back, tuck your chin as though you've got an orange under your chin, one of those really good Christmas oranges, and go back and nice, slow and controlled, not holding your breath and not touching the back of the chair. You stop before you get back there and then bring yourself back up. So, like I said, remembering you're not taking your head back with it. You are tucking that chin as you go back. Let's do 2 more. And feel free to switch it up and do different options as you go. Try them out, see how that works for you. And last one. What the heck, 1 more. We'll try this option. There we go. All right. That is our other one. Okay, so next up, let's do a squat, because I want to show you the difference between a squat, your knee positioning for a squat, as opposed to your knee positioning for when you are doing a sit to stand. Because a lot of the time, what we see, and we always encourage you to keep the knees back when you are doing the squat, knees stay back from your toes, but it is actually the opposite when you are starting from a sit from the seated position when you're doing a sit to stand, the knees can come beyond your toes. Okay, and up. There we go. And just a second here, I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. Okay, make sure I'm not, okay, there we go. All right, and so that is the regular squat. Remember, keep the knees, do not come beyond the toes. When you are doing the sit to stand, you are sitting towards the front of your chair. You actually want to bring those feet back and shift your weight forward. And then you can either have your hands on your thighs or on the chair or on the arms of the chair if it has arms, and then you stand up. And I really like this one because you can slow it down. Make sure that chair is still there when you're sitting down. You can slow it down and actually challenge yourself even more. Because lots of times when people are doing the squats, they maybe aren't challenging themselves quite as much. When you do the sit to stand, you are going down deeper. And so you can challenge those legs more and work them a little bit more. And then that chair is right there too if you need it. All right, so we'll stand up the one more time. There we go, nice, slow and controlled. And I am trying to fit lots in, like I said, so that's all we're gonna do for that one. Another one I wanted to do after I grab a drink of water is the ham curl. So standing up nice and tall, or you could do it sitting as well. And you are just bending at the knee, bringing your heel up at the back. Okay, you'll see that my knees are staying in alignment. I'm not bending at the hip, bringing that knee forward. You don't want to do that. You want to keep the knees kind of together, not pasted together, but you want to keep them in alignment. So it looks like I've only got one leg, except that you can actually see two shoes. And as with any exercise, leg exercise, the more you slow it down, the more you get out of it, both as far as strengthening and balance. Okay, so that's the one with the ham curl. Don't bend the hips, just at the knees. That's the point that I want to make for this one. Okay, how am I doing for time? Ooh. All right, let's go into I'm just gonna give you a quick couple things. Hip abduction, taking the leg out to the side. Okay, so this is also a really good exercise, a really important one, very functional. We're working those hip abductors, and those are really important for helping us get in and out of the shower, in and out of the bathtub, in and out of our bed, or in and out of the vehicle, that kind of thing. So the thing is, lots of times people want to point that toe and take it to an angle to the front. That's not working those hip abductors, that's working your hip flexors. So we need to turn that toe in and lead with the heel, maybe even be a little bit pigeon-toed. Okay, again, for the sake of time, I'm not going to do tons of these, but I wanted to sneak this in as one of the ones that we need to tweak a little bit sometimes. But it is a really good exercise, so I'm going to sneak some of them in. And again, oh, another thing, make sure you're still standing up nice and tall. You don't have to lift your leg real high, just a small movement, but stand up tall. Don't bend over to try to get that leg up higher, because you don't have to. It's just a small movement. Okay, shake that one out. Next is the toe heel. So up onto your toes, down onto your heels, and then raise your toes. So the more you slow this one down, the more it will challenge your balance. And so when we're raising our toes, we're working our tibialis anterior, our shin. That's important for being able to raise your toes when you're walking, so you're not shuffling. And when we're up onto our toes, we're working our calves, our gastrocnemius. And that's really important as well. The thing with this one, make sure that you are not sticking your butt out. I tried to exaggerate that. Don't stick your butt out when you are lifting those toes up. You want to maintain that posture. Okay. We'll do a few more of those, and then we will switch into our stretches. Okay, shake that out. And grab your chair. Let's get into our stretches. So this is another one, the very first one up, another one that I do see a lot of people doing incorrectly. Back in the day, we did used to reach for the toe, but we don't actually want you doing that anymore. So you're sitting up nice and tall towards the front of your chair. I'll extend the one closest so you can see it better. Slight bend to your knee, heel down, toe pointing up. If you're leaning on a leg for support, it is the bent one, not the straight one. And core is engaged. You are just hinging forward at the hips, head, neck, spine, kind of in alignment there, but eyes are on the horizon. A lot of people want to reach for their toe, thinking they're getting a better stretch that way. That is not the case, because lots of times this is what you see when people are reaching for the toe. Trust me, I'm not getting a better stretch that way. Let's pull the toe up more towards your shin. Feel a stretch in your calf. So when you are doing this, actually, because we are pivoting forward a bit, think about looking at the floor about maybe 3-4 feet ahead of you, depending on how much you're leaning forward, I guess. Okay, shaking that out, let's switch legs, heel down, toe pointing up, leaning forward, pivoting forward at the hips. Pull that knee up, pull the toe up more towards your shin. Feel free to pivot forward a little bit more. Okay, shaking that out. And I'm just going to turn my chair around. All right, so sitting up nice and tall. Let's take that one leg back. I'm going to do our quad hip flexor stretch here. This is where you want to feel the stretch. You're sitting up nice and tall. One bum cheek on the chair, one off. You're extending that leg back as far as you can for whatever's comfortable for you. But this is where you want to feel the stretch. If you want to feel the stretch a little bit deeper, you can lean back slightly. Some people like to reach up with the arm on the same side as the leg that's extended, and you can feel a little bit of lengthening in there. Okay, let's switch sides. And reaching up. If you like, feel free to grab onto the chair if you need some extra support. All right, now let me switch angles here. Let's go for that glute hip stretch. This is one of my favorites. So again, sitting up nice and tall towards the front of your chair, bringing that leg up and pivoting forward at the hips. Feel free to give a gentle press on your knee, just gentle. You can also throw in some ankle circles here or point and flex. That's a nice way of sneaking in something extra. If you aren't able to get your leg up here, sometimes using your other leg as a ramp, or even just working at whatever level works for you. Okay, switching legs. Pivot forward at the hips. Try and keep that good alignment, head, neck, spine. Feel free to do a gentle press on the inside of your knee. All right, and we'll shake that out. And Let's do the rest standing. So one arm out to the side, take it over from underneath, grab on, and if you spread your stance, toes pointing forward, we can actually take the legs to the side too and do a little stretch in our adductor muscle too. We were doing those crossovers in the front and back, working our adductors, throwing some hand circles. So we'll stretch out those adductor muscles as well, inside of our thigh. And like I said, shoulder stretch, so a nice stretch in the back of our shoulder. Shake that out, other arm across, underneath, grab on, pull it in. And reverse that. All right, shake that out, reaching up. If I move back a little bit, we can see a little better. I'm going for the oblique stretch. So feel a nice stretch in your obliques. When you are stretching, slight discomfort is okay. But if you're actually feeling pain, that means you've gone too far and you need to let up a little bit. Let's reach that same arm down between our shoulder blades. Gentle press on our elbow or in our triceps area. This is our tricep stretch. If you have shoulder issues and that doesn't feel so good, feel free to take it across to the other side. Shaking that out. Let's take the other arm up. Gentle pull, slightly diagonal. Feel that stretch in your obliques. Take that arm down for a tricep stretch. Gentle press on your elbow or in your triceps area. Opening the arms up for a chest stretch. Lower the arms down a little bit, relax those shoulders. Thumbs are up. Let's rotate them around, kind of turn them up again. Press the shoulders back. You should feel a stretch in your biceps. Rotate the thumbs back up and the hands back at the wrist. Rotate around again, press back. You feel it more in your forearm. All right, shaking that out. Nice big shoulder rolls backwards. All right, keeping your shoulders level. Take one ear down to your shoulder. Opposite arm is reaching towards the floor. And head back up to the center, other ear to your shoulder, opposite arm to the floor. And head back up to the center. Finishing off, we are finished already. So finishing off with 3 deep cleansing breaths. Inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Deep breath in. And exhale. Keep your chest up, that's another one. Chest up when you're doing the 3 deep breaths. One last time. Deep breath in, stretch it up, and we are done. Great job, I'm sure. Thank you very much for joining. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, feel free to leave a comment below or to call or email us. We love hearing your feedback, so take care, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.